it's Chatty Abby and Jeremy. We are talking about Justice League Unlimited.
Yes.
What are the episode's names? So
the name of the first episode is The Doomsday Sanction. So this episode is about how a secret government organization called Cadmus has established itself as a countermeasure to prevent the Justice Lord from happening. So when they defeated the Justice Lords back in Justice League, they made a deal with the government that they had to tell the government everything that happened with the whole Justice Lord dimension and basically share all the details from that mission. So now the government is super scared that the Justice League is going to turn into the Justice Lords, and so now they've created contingencies.
So their plan is to create really giant, terrible monsters so then the Justice League has to clean up. Okay, if I was going to try to prevent the Justice Lords, I'd try to do checks and balances, government kind of stuff, maybe adding in voting, like these different kinds of things into what they're doing. Maybe not allow Justice League Unlimited, because now instead of just 7 heroes that could like possibly take over the whole world, they have like hundreds that Superman dictates what they're supposed to be doing. So it's like they have a whole army now. Like maybe they should be like split up, like it's a monopoly right now. You know, like if you have a company that's like taking over an entire thing and becoming too powerful, right? The government comes in and splits them up. What's that called? Does that have a name?
Antitrust.
Yeah. So maybe something like that would be helpful. But no, there's this lady. What's the lady's name?
Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller, who, by the way, is probably the only overweight character in the whole show. And she turns out to be kind of like a little bit evil.
She's morally gray.
Yeah. And she works with a lot of bad people to like achieve her ends that tend to not work out great. And I feel like there should be more representation of overweight people being good guys too, in my opinion, because that was a little bit annoying. All the women are very, very thin, and then all of a sudden you have this much bigger woman who's like kind of, anyway. So that's one thing about it. But yeah, so they're like creating all these like monsters down in this secret base to try to be countermeasures to like the Justice Lords. Yeah, like I said, but not the best plan.
They create more problems than they solve.
Do they solve any problems?
No.
Sometimes they're a part of the solution to the problem they created.
Yeah.
But they don't really come up with anything that would actually fix the Justice Lord situation. So, what can you do? So yeah.
So in this episode, they sort of give the backstory for Doomsday within this universe was that he was created by Cadmus as a clone of Superman, and then they mixed him up with a cocktail of other weird chemicals.
And then tortured him.
And then brainwashed him to hate Superman.
I know who you are, but I'm not the one who hurt you.
Superman is Superman, and I will kill you.
Why?
It's what I am. I don't care why.
And so a very disgruntled employee who basically just got quote-unquote fired, not officially fired, but basically you don't have your job anymore.
He got demoted.
Yeah. So he's really mad. So he immediately goes and walks into a room where they have the Doomsday locked up, which doesn't seem to have any security measures for some reason. And he releases...
Well, I mean, he was like a top-level employee, so he has like all the access codes still because he does it immediately after being demoted, which, in my opinion, being demoted is sometimes worse than being fired.
Yeah.
I mean, what's worse than like watching somebody else take over your job and now you're going to be the guy that goes and gets coffee when you used to be in charge versus like, okay, now I have to go find a whole new position. Anyway, but yeah, he immediately just releases the guy and he's just like, you're not going to hurt me, right? And then just releases this giant monster in the same room as him. So of course he immediately gets torn limb from limb.
Yep.
At every turn, Waller and Hamilton abused and betrayed you, just as they betrayed me. Don't we both deserve retribution?
Yes. Release me.
What are you?
Your problem solved.
Off screen, of course, because it's very child friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
And then Doomsday goes to fulfill his primary objective. Kill Superman. Because, you know, what else are you going to do?
Which is actually a really cool fight scene. Like, I'm not usually, like, super into fight scenes, so I don't really talk much about it. But they're, like, inside a volcano because Superman's in there trying to, like, prevent this volcano from happening. And then Doomsday shows up and they fight inside the... It was kind of a really cool setting for a fight. I kind of really liked it. And he's like, why are you fighting me? And he's like, I don't know, I want to.
He's like, well, let's talk about this. We're not talking about anything. I hate you. But that wasn't even me that tortured you and put you to jail. I don't care. You're still Superman. But I'm not the Superman. You don't even know me. I haven't done anything to you. But you're Superman.
He's like, I'm not much of a talker. I'm here to fight. So they fight. Which does lead in the end to a different conversation because they defeat him. They put him back in these like shackle things that can hold him. They go up to the watchtower and they sit in these like thrones in like a half circle and they go, what are we going to do about him? And then they're like, well, will you do this? Will you do that? He's like, no, I would never cooperate. And they're like, Superman's like, okay, then this is the only option. And he sends him to his Superman jail.
The Phantom Zone.
The Phantom Zone. And I was watching that and I'm like, wait, what?
I only use this as a last resort. It's going to send you to another dimension. You won't be hurt, but you also won't hurt anyone else again.
The reason our justice system is set up the way it is, the reason the police officer who shows up on the scene and experienced all of the stuff that went down, like maybe the guy attacked him, so he like was, you know, fighting for his life, and or he met the victims and, you know, he dealt with all of that. That police officer then just takes him to jail, which then he goes into the system. Whereas there's a reason why the police officer doesn't go, I saw you do that, I decide you're guilty, and then I decide what your punishment is. There's a reason we have different people for the different jobs. We have the person who enforces the law is not the same as the judge, is not the same as the jury, and is not the same as the executioner. They're all separate people so that multiple people have to agree before somebody actually gets punished. That way it's like as fair as possible in a flawed human world. And here Superman is the one who was attacked, is the one who ended the assault, then is the one who arrests him, then is the one who judges him and questions him, and there's no jury, and the one who imprisons him. All by himself with no input from anybody else except his very close friends who were like, whatever you want to do, Superman, and didn't even like cross him. I'm like, this is how you end up in the Justice Lord place. Like, what do you mean you're gonna just put him in the Phantom Zone? You didn't even tell the government who created him what you did with him. You didn't have a jury of people say, yeah, that's a great idea, let's put him in the Phantom Zone. You didn't have, there's no checks and balances whatsoever. This is what Cadmus is worried about, and why they created this monster is because of these issues. And that's how you responded, which Batman then points out at the end of the episode, because I think I paused the episode to rant about it, like, what is he doing? And then the very next scene, Batman's in like really bad condition because Cadmus's solution to their monster was a kryptonite nuclear bomb that they just sent to the volcano that had civilians on it.
Not a great plan.
The lady in charge said, do whatever it takes to handle it. She comes back and is like, how'd you handle it? And he goes, oh, I sent a nuclear bomb over there. And she's like, no, 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 shut that down. And he's like, oh, it's too late.
Yes, Mr. President.
Call off the missile.
How did you get this now?
The missile headed for San Boquero. If anyone dies on that island today, I'm coming for you.
You do what you have to, and so will I. Eiling!
What? not managed correctly at all. It's a whole giant mess. Because like everything they do, you're like, that seems dangerous. What? So anyway, any movie I've seen before that dealt with nuclear bombs, there was like multiple people who held the codes for the nuclear bombs, and it had to be like at least 6 high-ranking officials from different positions that all agreed, yes, we're going to send a nuclear bomb, because that's a really bad idea. You end up in nuclear war, you end the whole earth. You know, there should be more than just one random guy deciding to send a nuclear bomb out.
Checks and balances.
Yeah, that's the answer. Anyway, so Batman gets his little Batmobile, whatever. Bat plane, and he catches the bomb and puts it in the water, and you know, anyway. And so he ends up really beat up from all of that. So they go talk to Batman the very next scene after they sent Doomsday to the Phantom Zone, and they go talk to Batman, and Batman's like, wait, what? You've already tried, condemned, and punished him?
Sent him off to the Phantom Zone, didn't you?
He left us no choice.
Spoken like a true Justice Lord.
What? Come on.
Passing judgment like gods, with our superpowered army and our orbiting death ray. Cadmus is right to be scared.
This is why people are scared of us. And I was like, thank you, Batman. Yes, Batman. That's exactly what I said.
He's like, no, we're the good guys. And he's like, you don't get to be all funny with me when I just took a bullet from you. I just saved you from kryptonite. Don't joke around with me. I'm serious.
What if Luthor does become president, like he did in their world? What would stop you from doing what that Superman did?
There's always that kryptonite you carry around.
You don't get to joke. Not today. I just took a bullet for you.
I'm sorry, Bruce. You're right.
Right, like how many evil, awful things have been done with people saying, well, I'm the good guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody thinks they're the good guy.
Yeah.
There's always 2 sides to an argument, even though you think you're right. I mean, there are people that are like, I know this is evil, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, there's a lot of that. But then there's also really bad stuff when people are like, this is obviously the right thing. I'm the good guy. That's why there needs to be a discussion about that.
A discussion. Okay, so that was the Doomsday Sanction. Any other thoughts on that? Oh, jeez,
did I do 11 minutes on that one episode? No, that's all.
Okay, so then the next episode is Task Force X, which is the Suicide Squad episode within Justice League Unlimited. I
like the Suicide Squad way better than the movie.
Yeah. This is the best version of the Suicide Squad that I've seen, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, other people might disagree.
Yeah, I'm sure. Most people, I think, like the James Gunn Suicide Squad, which was definitely an improvement on the first Suicide Squad movie that they made, but it still just wasn't for me. But I can understand why people like that one so much, and I think that's most people's favorite version of Suicide Squad.
So this whole Suicide Squad was Cadmus's next attempt at handling the Justice League. And I thought this one was a little bit more thought out than creating a giant monster and releasing him with the only backup being a nuclear bomb. So they sent these guys to break into the Justice, and it was actually relatively easy to do so. But also they had the Clock King to like plan it out.
We may as well be storming Heaven's Gate itself.
Unlike Heaven, this tower has a duty schedule, one I've studied thoroughly. I've scheduled your visit for when they're at their weakest.
And he makes amazing plans. Like, that's what he's good at.
The Clock King is back with a vengeance.
So that really helps a lot. With it being relatively easy to do.
So all you need to do is just impersonate a few staff members and boom, you're in.
I mean, because they're so busy saving the world, they're not going to mop their own floors or clean their own toilets. So they have a bunch of staff for all that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they were in, and they knew their way around, and they had like an actual plan with like everything timed out. And they did a really good job. They
do get caught though. So they get caught by Martian Manhunter, who they're all very terrified of, for very good reason.
He's the scariest of all of them.
Because he was about to fry the guy's brain.
Yeah.
So, what do we do with him now?
I'd like to go in there and wipe clean the last 2 years of his memory.
Whoa, that's a little harsh, don't you think?
He's a liability.
Yeah, so it's a pretty extreme punishment. It's definitely like, yeah. So there's a good reason to be afraid of Martian Manhunter. He's a scary guy.
Yeah.
And very, very stoic, very calm, held together, but yeah, you don't want to push the wrong button on that guy.
Nope. And I also thought it was really cool how they have, I thought it was a very interesting team that they assembled. I mean, Captain Boomerang is usually always part of the Suicide Squad, so that was an obvious choice. I liked how they picked the Clock King, which is a villain that we would recognize from Batman the Animated Series. And they have Rick Flag, who, in most other versions of Suicide Squad, he's a much more likable character, but I thought I really liked how unlikable he was in this version.
Any escape attempt and, well, you're gonna look kind of funny trying to run away with no head.
What do you want exactly?
You're gonna do something patriotic, convict.
Because, you know, usually comes off as kind of just bland, and he's just kind of there to keep them in line. Whereas I thought him just being really annoying and authoritative was a lot more entertaining than him just being, I'm a good old American boy. I'm here to be the, basically, babysitter for these villains to make sure they don't do anything too bad.
Is that the guy who at the very end just like, they're like, okay, well, I guess I'm free now. And he like punches him for no reason?
Yeah.
Most fun I've had since my last root canal. Well, gang, guess I'll be saying...
You just like, yeah.
I found that a lot more entertaining because in the other Suicide versions, he's basically, he like actually cares about them and he's usually the one defending them to Amanda Waller. Whereas in this one, he seems more like their jailer than like their advocate, which I thought was more interesting.
And there was no need to do that. They had just gone, through a whole mission together. And he didn't even say anything impertinent or rude or anything. He just, you know, and nobody had told them that they have to just constantly put their life in danger for 5 years before they get out. And they didn't give him an option. The whole thing's very evil. Cadmus is like getting up there. Like it's dark stuff they're doing. And it's like, well, it's to keep you in balance. Yeah. Because we're doing the right thing. See? They're also doing the right thing to protect humanity. Yeah, but anyway, I found that incredibly rude.
Yeah, but I found his rudeness hilarious, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be much more interesting character.
Because normally in the Suicide Squad, he's sort of kind of like, you know, let me keep these people alive so they can be useful for the next mission. You know, Amanda Waller is getting a little bit, I don't know, she's doing some weird stuff. I don't know if I support that. He's almost like your point of view character. So the good part of that is, you know, he sort of voices what you're feeling about the situation. But the downside is he just ends up being very bland because it doesn't really have much of a personality. Yeah. Whereas I thought the personality of, you're a scumbag and I'm here to serve my country and you're not worth anything, but you're going to do something right. If I have anything to say about it.
Or I'm going to blow you up. Because, like, right, they eat the last meal and it's like, blow your head off if you don't do what I say. Ugh. It's kind of a cool concept because it's like a villain's henchman perspective. Because you see all these henchmen that are sent into these impossible situations. And if they come back and they haven't done it correctly, then their boss kills them. Like, you let Batman get the shipment? You know, and you're like, that seems like a terrible job. Why would anybody sign up for that? So it's kind of like they're Cadmus's henchmen that are disposable. Yeah. And in a very bad situation. But you can understand why, because they were forced. Yeah. And it's all from their perspective, and they're not exactly upstanding people. But I didn't get terribly attached to any of them from that episode. So if any of them had died, I'd probably been like, oh, and that guy's dead. Okay. Like they had like the bomb girl or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know. I did not find her annoying.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
It was entertaining, and I thought they made Rick Flag more interesting, and I'm always here for the Clock King. He's one of my favorite villains.
I did really like his part. His part was kind of small.
It was very small, but
I did like it.
It fit his abilities, you know.
You're 36 seconds behind. Gonna move on it.
He's like, you have expired your 2-minute cushion. You must execute now.
And that's when they get caught, is when they expired their 2-minute cushion.
Yep. So he served his role, you know, he was very true to his character. That was his job before he became a villain, was to yell at people for not being on time.
It took you how long to copy those papers?
I needed those 5 minutes ago.
I'm sorry, sir, but...
37 pages? That would take a copier exactly 1 minute and 49 seconds. One more delay like this, and you're fired.
Did you take a break? Were you spending too much time at the water cooler?
Why did it take you 15 minutes to copy these papers? Anyway, he's funny.
Yeah.
We like him. We're all love for the Clock King. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.